Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Marr and that noise you're hearing is my ventilator. And welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Today we're going to talk about the Sith Trooper. Last week, Lucasfilm unveiled a new type of stormtrooper we will see in the Rise of Skywalker. A stormtrooper with red stormtrooper armor called the Sith Trooper. Now I, being a bit of a dummy, forgot to mention this on my podcast, and this is a big deal because it's more official news and imagery from the Rise of Skywalker. And this came from the horse's mouth. I have never been fond of sharing things that are leaked or that are, delving too much into spoiler territory by getting into stuff that we shouldn't really be seeing. But in this case, Lucasfilm wants us to know about the Sith Trooper. So let us discuss what that means. Now, it's very interesting to have Sith Troopers. What most people, including myself, immediately thought was, they're probably First Order troopers. But didn't Kylo Ren say that it was time to let old things die? In fact, he listed the Sith as one of the old things that needed to die when he was talking to Rey in the throne room after the death of Snoke. So I'm still scratching my head over why would a Sith Trooper be involved with what looks like the First Order if the new Supreme Leader doesn't want anything to do with the Sith. Or should I say, thinks the Sith need to die. Well, there's a couple of reasons. Let's begin with Kylo Ren. Maybe he changes his mind. That's a possibility. Or maybe he was lying to Rey about letting the Sith die. So far we know that Snoke and Kylo Ren, and we assume the other Knights of Ren, are not Sith. At least if they are Sith, it has never been stated. So we can assume they are not Sith. Now, Kylo Ren, as we know, is in the case of the helmet of Darth Vader, seems to be fond of collecting the relics in that he pretty much worships his grandfather. Or at least worships the evil side of his grandfather, not truly who his grandfather was. His grandfather's a Sith, was a Sith Lord. Isn't it a bit strange that if Kylo Ren reveres someone as much as Darth Vader, he's basically a Darth Vader fanboy and yet wants the Sith to die? Now, of course, this could be explained as Kylo Ren has decided to move on from being a Vader fanboy. But considering how close The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi were to each other in terms of chronology, in fact, they almost overlap. Not quite, but are that close. It doesn't seem like there's enough time for Kylo Ren to say so much for Grandpa. But maybe he doesn't worship his grandfather as a Sith Lord, just as the embodiment of the dark side that Kylo Ren wants to be. But maybe, just maybe, the fact that his grandfather's a Sith makes Kylo Ren go, I better change my mind on that. And okay, now I do want Sith Troopers. Maybe he's changed his mind. And supposedly the Rise of Skywalker takes place sometime after a year or two after the Last Jedi. So either maybe he's changed his mind or maybe he's lying to Rey. Or, and what I find most likely and most compelling is that there will be a split in the First Order. Do you remember at the end of The Last Jedi when the First Order was investigating the base on Crate after the Resistance members escaped? General Hux gave the most evil look at Kylo Ren. That kind of makes me think that Hux is going to try to betray Kylo Ren. And that there is going to be some kind of schism in the First Order. Now, I did not read it very in-depth with the article in Variety when they did their big Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker photo shoot a couple of months ago. I really wanted to keep myself away from that kind of stuff. And to be completely honest, I don't trust everything that they say in those articles. Just to be clear, J.J. Abrams likes his mystery box, likes to toy with us, and sometimes, unfortunately, that can lead to dishonesty. But I don't want to get into that here, so I didn't read too much in depth in the Variety article. I saw a couple of the pictures. I didn't see all of them. But I am interested in this individual named General Pride. General Pride is played by the great Richard E. Grant, the British actor who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor last year. Sorry for the noise there, a bit of house cleaning going on. So, Richard E. Grant was in the movie Can You Ever Forgive Me last year with Melissa McCarthy. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He has a great face, I gotta say. He's got the face that so clearly fits an Imperial or First Order officer. He's playing a fellow called Allegiant General Pride. I have no idea what Allegiant General means. And he is involved somehow. There's a picture of him in an outfit that looks similar to a First Order uniform in a scene with General Hux. Now, I suspect that maybe this guy is part of a... If Hux decides to break away from Kylo Ren and cause a split in the First Order, I suspect Pride will be on Hux's side. Or maybe Hux will be on General Pride's side. I don't know. Maybe Pride comes in and is the one that causes this schism. But which I'm sure Hux would be totally okay with. So maybe, just maybe, General Hux and General Pride split from the First Order, and they have a regiment of Sith Troopers at their disposal. Just a guess on my part. Now, I do not believe that General Hux is Force sensitive. But maybe he secretly is and is trying to set himself up as a Sith Lord. Or, if they are called Sith Troopers, who is the Sith who we may see in this movie? None other than Palpatine himself. I am inclined to believe that there will be a split in the First Order. How exactly that's going to work, I don't know. But I also have a feeling that these Sith Troopers, because they're called that, serve Palpatine. Where is Palpatine? It's a good question. And how could they serve him if he's dead? Now, let me just say, I do believe Palpatine is dead. As to the body, I don't believe that he's been hanging out in the Death Star ruins alive. No. But the spirit of Palpatine is probably quite malevolent. And if he's figured out a way how to cheat death in terms of his spirit, either to possess the ruins of the Death Star or to possess people, he may be part of this, he may be ruling somehow and actually have the power to do that. Perhaps he has possessed a person, and maybe that person works for the First Order, and maybe when there's a split, if there's a split, the Sith Troopers serve Palpatine and whoever he has possessed. It's going out on a limb on some of these ideas are a little bit crazy. But I think it is highly possible that the Sith Troopers serve Palpatine. Maybe our heroes journey to the ruins of the Death Star, and Palpatine's spirit is not there. Perhaps it has already possessed some member of the First Order.
Yeah.
Either Hux or Pride or some other new character. And has already been taken away from the ruins of the Death Star, possessing the body of someone who is alive. Or maybe what we're seeing in the Death Star ruins is only near the beginning of the movie. Or maybe halfway through. I don't know. Maybe Sidious or Palpatine possesses Kylo Ren. And then Kylo Ren calls forth his Sith Troopers. I don't know. Regardless, the introduction of this Sith Trooper brings some major questions. I do think it is most likely that there will be a split in the First Order. I also believe that the Sith Troopers serve Palpatine. However that will work. But it's very interesting to throw this out to us. J.J. Abrams likes to toy with us. Let us hope that this is not some kind of thing that leads nowhere. That they're, oh yeah, we have Sith Troopers, cool. I think there needs to be more to the story than that. And also, really quickly, the mystery right now of Matt Smith. Matt Smith, you may recall, has played a Doctor Who. And is currently seen as Prince Philip in The Crown. He is supposedly in the movie. Though, I don't want to get too deep into it, but he has denied that he's in the movie. And it was never officially listed on the Lucasfilm cast list. Though I think his name may have appeared and then they removed it or something like that. Either his scenes were deleted or something, but could he be involved in Palpatine somehow? And despite all the evidence to the contrary, could he still be in the film? You betcha. This is J.J. Abrams we're talking about. Lying about what's in your movie is not outside his wheelhouse. But I don't really want to get into that here. Other than, I think Palpatine is returning somehow. I think it is likely that he has possessed someone's body. And that someone has a bunch of Sith Troopers at their command. Those are just my thoughts. I don't really know. As always, hashtag speculate responsibly. I am going to leave my expectations and my predictions at the door. When I walk into this movie, I just want to be surprised. And I just want to not get my expectations in such a way that I can't accept what they do. But ultimately, I will say this. I am willing to accept whatever they give me if it's done right. So those are my thoughts. If you have any thoughts, let me know what you think about the Sith Trooper. My name is Brendan Marr. That noise you hear is my ventilator. And thank you for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, the Star Wars podcast. Or should I say, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.